Welcome to SibSpot. Today's stories from Reddit are on the topic of Tales from Retail. The customer is definitely not always right, and retail workers certainly know just how wrong they can be. Story number 1 is from Queen Nestelin. No one reads signs, not even for holidays. It's Good Friday. We have shortened hours, but that doesn't mean the deliveries stop. Normally, when I open, I use the emergency lights over the tills and keep the store lights off because I know people will be knocking on the door before I'm open, and it distracts me when counting money. Today, I had to come in an hour before opening and bring in stock to date and price up front at the counter. Because I can't work in the dark, I had to turn the lights on in the store. I hadn't touched the tills or done any of the opening procedures because I had someone coming in to do that before we opened. I was working on the totes as quickly as I could when an old man came up to the door. He tried it once. He tried it twice. When he yelled at me through the window about our hours, I walked over and pointed to the holiday hours sign in the window by the door. "It's 9 o'clock, he said. "You open at 9. "No, sir, those are the hours for Saturday. Today is Friday. We don't open till 10 today. Today being Friday." He then asked if he could come in and buy a big bag of birdseed. No, because we are not open. No, they can't open the door for you because then they'd have to open it for other people. And sure, you spent gas getting to the store, but that's not on them, it's on you. Go home, come back later. Our next story is by TilPlas26. Customers try to return an item with a receipt from the future. This happened, I think, back in 2015. I don't remember exact dates. I think we were in the summer months. 2 customers entered the store wishing to return an item that was several $100s. The cashier who was doing the return asked for the receipt. When they handed it to the cashier looked at the date. It was dated from several months before in March, beyond the return window. I don't know if these customers thought they could somehow beat the system, because in 2015, part of the date, with pen, they changed the 5 to a 6, so that would make the purchase date next year. The cashier told the customers she'll be unable to do the return. The customers got rather angry, saying they are returning the item in time, so they want their money back. This cashier had quite the personality, so she pointed at the receipt and said, "Well, according to this receipt, this item hasn't been purchased yet. The date is for 2016. The customers angrily snatched their receipt and item, yelling they'll make a complaint as they left the store. Nothing was ever heard from the customers again. They probably took their time machine back home. That's just crazy to me, trying to change the number on the receipt and hoping a cashier wouldn't notice. I'm glad she did her job well, but she shouldn't have to look that closely. It's like, go ahead and make a complaint. People would love to hear our reply to this. The third story today is by Bears and Butts. How dare you not help me when you're not on the clock? This happened Saturday afternoon, busiest day of the week. After taking my 30-minute lunch break, I came back inside the building, went to the back room to drop off my bag, and then back to the register to clock back in and resume my shift. I'm not wearing a name tag or walkie-talkie, and our store's uniform is a red, blue, or green t-shirt and dark jeans. So while I'm wearing the uniform, it wouldn't say it's easily identifiable. However, I must still be official looking because on the way back to the register, a woman asked if I worked there. And being honest, I told her yes. However, I wasn't on the clock yet, and I could help her with whatever she needed as soon as I clocked in. She muttered something under her breath, but did follow me up to the register, where 2 of my coworkers were, who actually were on the clock. The register was being used, so it took me a second longer before I was able to clock in. Meanwhile, the woman spoke to my other coworker, who happened to be one of the managers, and just wanted to let me know how I refused to answer her question until I was on the clock. Love that customers now expect me to do my job, customer service, helping them find things in the store or answer any of their questions, for free. Especially since that there were at least 4 other employees in the store who were all on the clock and available to help her. Maybe you like to do your work without being compensated for it, but I'm not going to lead you around the store without getting paid for it first. People in retail aren't paid enough for this lady's BS. No, they aren't required to do a thing for you when they aren't being paid. This one almost sounds like it belongs in the entitled people story section. The final story today is by Fluid Assignment 837. Man doesn't understand how public toilets work. A little while back, I was in work and it was a particularly busy day, so I was rushing a bit. I walked past a very flustered-looking man standing next to another man in a wheelchair. Both of them were outside the toilets. Just for context, the main toilets have multiple cubicles, but there is also a disabled toilet which is separate. I walked past them in a hurry, and as I got probably a few feet past them, the flustered-looking man says, "Excuse me?" He sounded really irritated, so I flinched and wished I was anywhere else. But I still turned around with a big smile on my face and said, "Yes, can I help you, sir?" He responds, still sounding just as belligerent, "The door for the disabled toilet won't open." Now, I'm already internally rolling my eyes because he's talking to me like I'm the one who has personally locked or broken the door, and also like he is definitely expecting me to be able to instantly fix it. I don't say anything, but I go to have a look at the door. He's still talking behind me, saying, "I've been trying and it won't open." I looked at the door, and it now becomes really difficult not to react. The little indicator on the door is red, indicating that the toilet is occupied. I turn back to him and say, "Sir, the toilet is occupied. See the little red thing?" He stares at it in silence for a moment and then actually says this sentence to me. "Well, what am I supposed to do with that? How long are they going to be?" I was honestly just lost for words at this point. After a few seconds of silence, I just said, "I'm not really sure what to suggest, sir." He then has the audacity to roll his eyes at me and then be like, "Ugh, fine." Honestly, one of the weirdest discussions I've ever had, and 5 minutes of my life I'm never getting back. This one isn't too bad. The guy probably had to go pretty badly, and that makes people not always think too clearly. Still, I feel badly for the person in there that keeps hearing this guy trying to open it over and over. I believe the proper thing to say if somebody's trying the door over and over again is "estoy poopin'." What? No? It's better to say "occupied" or "I'll be a few minutes"? That's no fun. Ah well, I'll never pass up the chance to input a cat meme if it pops into my head. As usual, until we meet again, have an excellent day.